So last week I visited a Dutch painter, sculptor, Rob Houdijk. I knew him quite a long time, but I only saw his paintings and sculptures on the web. And once I saw a few paintings in the gallery. And I was really impressed by his colorful, impressionist work. So I called him once and asked if he would like to join me for this portrait sessions project that I'm doing on my channel. I explained him how this works and what I want to do with it. And he immediately responded really positively, but he first would like to meet me to know who I am and what we are doing. So I visited him last week in one of his two studios. He's using two studios, one painting studio and one studio for sculpturing. And as I told him that I would be there in the afternoon, he told me that I should go to his sculpture studio. So it looks like he's painting in the morning and sculpturing in the afternoon. It was a large studio with a huge gallery next to it. And when I arrived there were two other artists. It was around 3 p.m. I think, and there was already a bottle of wine on the table. So first we started with a good glass of wine. And we spoke about art. And then he showed me his gallery with recent works, watercolor paintings, soft pastels and oil paintings. And it's amazing work. It's so saturated, so strong and bright in color. Painting a sky deeply yellow, for example, without losing your way is really, really a special thing to do for me. He knows how to do this. In watercolor paintings, sometimes he uses pure blue in a shadow. And I asked him how he came upon this idea to use pure blue, because there isn't any blue in reality. And he answered something like, "Well, just try it, and it looks good. And sometimes you have to put another color next to it, and then it's fine." And then he even explained me that during his painting process, a lot is going on out of his memory or imagination. Although these are realistic, maybe impressionistic paintings, he works a lot from his imagination or even sketches from several years ago. For me, that's new. So I asked him if there isn't any limitation when you work from your imagination, because you can only paint. That's what I thought. You can only draw and paint what you know, what you are able to do. And when you are observing reality, there is always something new that you are exploring. He knew what I meant, and he brought me to this other room where the other artists were drinking wine. And there was this kind of, I don't know the name for this, flip over. It's a board with pieces of papers, really large. They used it in the 90s during meetings, and then you write a topic on a piece of paper, and you talk about it, and then you flip it over, and then there is another white piece of paper for the new topic. It's not made for artists actually, but it stood there. And then he looked for a piece of charcoal, and then he told me, "Well, now I'm going to draw 2 dancing people." And he started drawing like a kid is enjoying a piano, just playing, and then you find a melody, and you play the melody again, and then you find the chords. And this was totally the same in his drawing. He was so free and so fast, and in 1 or 2 minutes there were 2 dancing people. And before I could say anything about it, he flipped it over, and then there was another piece of paper, and he said, "Now we will do a mother with a child." And then it happened again, very fast. And this reminded me of a video I saw from an American impressionistic painter. I forgot her name, but I will check it out and put her name in this video. And in one of her videos, she said that when she's painting, she never forgets that painting is a dance. For me, that's really liberating to see it as a dance. So I'm totally impressed by what I see in reality, but reality is not a painting, so the painting finally is the only thing that counts. If you want to use a pure blue in a shadow just to see what happens, and you make it, then it's a good painting. And this brush is not only following the real objects, but it's dancing. And the better your brush or your charcoal dances, the better it looks. So the paintings and this afternoon by Rob Houdijk, this painter, the Dutch painting, was it was really liberating for me. And you can imagine that I can't wait to work with him together. This project for me is the opportunity to learn these things. You don't find this in books, for example, or you have to work together. You have to speak about what's happening on the canvas. And I'm really, really very happy with this new project. So I will meet him next week with brushes and paint, and then we will make each other's portrait. Rob Houdijk, check him out. I will share the link of his website in the description. A new painting, new beginning of a new painting. I gave myself the opportunity to start in a different way. Different was the canvas. It's an older, cheaper canvas, and paint didn't stick to the canvas but more to the brush, so I had to work really hard. But what's different too is that I would like to paint more what I see and not what I'm looking at. If I have to explain this, the fact is that I'm looking at a tree and some architecture behind it and the mess under the window. But what I see is that the sun is shining on a beautiful, warm, greenish color. That's reflecting a warm light, and there is a cool reflection on chaos under the window. I'm so happy when you see that it's a tree and there is a abstract composition behind it, which is not disturbing but helping the composition without being architecture. So in other words, I use the architecture to make a composition in the distance. And that's what I want to do more, use reality for the painting. Since I'm visiting several artists now, the fact is that it's not only that they show me how they are working, but I'm showing myself how I work as well. I'm used to do it on my way. I'm used to start a painting my way. And when you see how other painters are doing it, when you're working together, well, you get new insights about painting and the subject as well. This is not a subject that I would paint normally. And that's only because I know that galleries are more interested in the subjects that everyone recognizes. And this is my subject, this is my place, this is my view and my mess under the window. But I want to take time sometimes to do this, and yeah, I really feel free when I start painting something like this, and I notice that I'm really inclined to explore the reality, and that I'm used to stick to reality. So that tipping point where I've been talking about earlier in videos, it's there when I'm I think further than the middle of the process. So in the second part, somewhere in the process, there is this tipping point. If you haven't seen this video where I spoke about that, it is that tipping point where the painting suddenly tells me what to do. And when I see paintings from this painter that I spoke earlier about in this video, I wish that this tipping point would come earlier in my process. And I know this is possible, but then I need to stick to the painting, more to the painting, and use the reality. And that's what I'm doing in this painting. It's only a beginning, of course, but suddenly there was a tree. Normally I'm used to explore how all this architecture is built, but now I only use the colors and some directions that I need and some contrast. Yeah, and this is a very interesting part, is that it is that mess under the window, and it's only reflection, and a teapot will be recognized, the brushes as well, but the other things is just chaos. So they must be realistic in tone, in reflection. And important as well is that these are making the composition stronger. And that is something that you don't see in reality, in my opinion, but you see it in the painting. So I was used to look at reality, look at this mess, and see what I have to do to make every object realistic. But in this painting, I feel that this is only a starting point, a teapot. This warmth, this tone, is the beginning point of more an abstract way of suggesting reality. When you're painting from life, the light changes, of course. And in the morning this was really clear, and then in the afternoon it became darker. At first I thought, well, then I'll make it darker, so I started to make it dark, but this almost became black, and I didn't know if I wanted this. A very, very dark mess under a window with a bright view. So I will continue on this one tomorrow, and then the light is maybe quite the same. And we will see what it needs. Maybe you remember that that marching band series started with this one, quite small watercolor painting, and even there is no marching band to see at all. This was the first one I made. That moment when St. Nicholas came in our small town where we're living, and then the marching band follows St. Nicholas as he's visiting our town. All the kids, a crowd of shouting children, and that bright, cold morning light in winter upon all those faces and long shadows on the street is beautiful. Suddenly, when you see it after a long while, it was standing over there in the corner of the studio, and there were several paintings in front of it, and I took them away, and then suddenly you see I saw only a part of this painting, and then you suddenly see what the strong part is, and that's this. It's another format, another size as well than how I started, and then it really works well to cut the other pieces off, and it's nice to see something in the morning. Then you suddenly see what it's all about. And I noticed that I'm exploring new grounds besides my commissioned work. Well, maybe that's not true, because it works all together. So I think I can say that I take more time now to explore ways to get deeper and closer to my fascination for light and mood. And of course you're not able to do this totally free when you are working on commission. So I'm working more and more these weeks on my own subjects and my own work, in several techniques as well. So now I'm working in oil, and I've been doing some larger paintings with soft pastel, gouache and watercolor. This canvas, as I told you, is quite bad to work on. It's a strong, good canvas, but to work on it's really rough, and it works quite slowly, and it asks a lot of paint. But maybe that kind of resistance works well too, because then you feel how strong your fascination is to get it done, as you know what I mean. And then you work closer and work faster to that fascination. It's all about observating, I think. Observating light, shadow, mood, time that passes by changing colors of light, changing intensity of light, abstraction in the objects, so that I can the story about time, about light and mood, and not about the function they have. And then, although I'm not happy yet with this larger oil painting, it's really a challenge for me to get this done, and to handle now even the same approaches I'm having when I'm working in watercolor. So when a watercolor painting is in this phase of like the oil painting now, I would say, well, it's a puzzle. These are only pieces, nice pieces of reality, nice pieces of a painting, but that don't react, that don't work together very well. So I have to glue them, and then I play with a next wash as a glue to see where I can put objects together to make a painting of it. I would like to do that today with a brush and first I have to know what color. And that's funny because when I'm working in watercolor, I don't use that much colors. And when I'm working in oil paint, I'm used to use more colors, and I'm used to mix the color exactly to reality. So when something is a bit dark gray, I try to make it exactly the same gray. And when it's really a colorless, cold gray, I mix it the same. And although I see that I'm very, very close to the real color, I see it won't work in a painting. It looks like this. It seems like this video is about the painting which counts. The painting is the result, and the painting has to tell the story. And when the colors in oil painting are too close to the real colors I see, the painting isn't strong enough. The funny thing is that when I'm working in soft pastel, for example, I don't mix because I use the pure soft pastel colors, and in watercolor I only think in tones and in temperature, in warm and in cold. Why shouldn't I do that when I'm making an oil painting? Not only to make it easier for myself, but to make it easier for the painting as well, to tell the story, to show what it's going about. And this is only about meditation, this painting on the easel. It's only a meditation. It's only morning light falling on a mess in the studio and that very warm green tree through the window. That's the only thing I want to show. So mixing colors as close as they can be to the real color, it takes too much time, and again it makes the painting even weaker. I don't know why, but it's the truth. So I'm telling myself to use only 3, maybe 4 colors now, and to finish it this morning, because I want to finish this painting. And when I'm working longer on this subject, I want to make another one. So this is an example of how I would paint a subject like this, a harmony in light and dark, warm and cool color. It's only a rhythm, and I can't say it's a finished painting. It's more a trial, an example for myself to show how I would do this. And I will put it away now for a few days, and then later it will remind me of the way to do paintings like this. Well, there is more to do today. I will do some sketches for a new commissioned work, and tomorrow I will start a lovely commission for the town hall here in town. Well, it's time to leave. It's late. I will finish this one next week. This week was an interesting week. The work offered me some insight that I maybe knew, but I noticed it once again, and it's all about that unique filter that we all have. Deciding to make a painting in oil, which I'm not doing that much, showed me that that when I'm getting closer to that what I'm looking at, the painting will appear weak, lifeless, and the colors look really, really weak, weaker than the colors in reality. As long as I stay as close as I can be to not that what I'm looking at, but that what I'm seeing, maybe I can say better that what I'm experiencing. Then while I'm mixing the colors, they don't look realistic at all, but as soon as they work together on the canvas, the painting itself looks really realistic. So it has all to do with this filter that we all have, and there is no single reality, of course. We all need each other to build a certain reality, and we are really curious to look through others' eyes. And I think art making is mostly about that you can show your world. So in other words, you can show the world through your eyes, through your unique filter. And this filter is alive because it's changing all the time. But I think for every artist, this filter works really, really well. And the more important is that you learn to trust on this filter that you use. Have a nice weekend. See you next week.